Let people know who you are. Show them your real self. Be sincere and authentic. And you can do that online. And you can do that in a number of ways. Videos, having, calls and conversations like this. The number one thing is to show your real and authentic self.
Why is trust so important for online success? In today's episode, we're going to introduce Natalie Oldfield, author of Trusted, the proven path to customer loyalty and business growth, to answer this question. Hey, Natalie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
We're so glad you're here with us. So let's jump right into it and tell us, why is trust so important for online success?
Well, there are three reasons. Retention of your current customers. The more trust you have, the longer they're going to stay with you. And there have been multiple studies that show that with one-off sales, as well as companies that have software as a service or subscription type businesses. The second reason is referrals. When we have trust, we refer our friends and families. In fact, in all around the world, it's shown that in and around 68% of us refer products and services of businesses that we trust. And then the third reason is revenue. There is a very strong correlation between high trust equity, which is something that I measure for companies. I measure their customers' trust in them. That's what I call trust equity. High trust equity and the propensity to continue to buy. So the third reason is revenue.
Great. That's a fantastic overview and perfect segue into what we call our $1 million question. What are the top three strategies that an e-commerce executive can use to leverage trust online to grow their business?
Great question. There's so many things. However, I would say, and I love that you've asked three, that the top three things would be, number one, let people know who you are. Show them your real self. Be sincere and authentic. And you can do that online. And you can do that in a number of ways. Videos, having, calls and conversations like this is a way to show people who you really are. That's, I would say, the number one thing, is to show your real and authentic self. The second way, I would say, is post and show a lot of pictures, visuals. This is a very large percentage of us. It's 55%. Sometimes we hear it's 75% of the population are visual. So show pictures of yourself. And a lot of us don't want to do that. We feel shy, or, a lot of business owners think, oh, well, I'll just, put a picture of my product out there. But when we show pictures of self, we put our trust in people, and companies are made up of people. So I would say number two would be to show pictures. And again, coming back to sincere and authentic. So not all made up and photoshopped, not pictures that are generated or touched up through AI, like the real, true picture. And then I would smile. That's when you smile, you're sharing that you're open for business. And as business owners, there's an old Chinese proverb that says, a smile, something like this. It's like a smile shows the shopkeeper that we are open and inviting, and it's warm. And then the third thing is reviews. And we all want social proof. We all want to know, what did someone else say and what does someone else think of it? So that's the third thing. And, to ask your clients for reviews, to let people know what their experience is with you. So those are the three things I would say to build trust online.
That's great. So to summarize, authenticity, transparency, real, pictures, and reviews. And reviews, of course, are also authentic, right? They're authentic user-generated
Yes.
content that the consumer, your customer, is saying about their experience with your company, their experience with your product. And that is also a great form of transparency and authenticity.
Yeah, I mean, we wanna know what other people say, and we want the social proof. So, reviews are very important and to all of our businesses and especially online businesses.
Yeah, for sure. I know Dr. Cialdini, he's big in when on your second point with pictures and smiling.
Yeah.
He's really big into the whole smiling idea, especially when it comes to branding. So with his new business, the Cialdini Institute, he incorporated a smile into the logo deliberately because of that principle. When people see other people smiling, it lowers that barrier,
Yeah.
right? And it makes you more willing to trust them. So I know he's a big proponent of smiling.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that I would say with respect to smiling, and we talk about this a lot. I have a program that I call Trust Mastery where people learn the 8 principles of building trust and they learn, how to become more trustworthy to so that their business is more trusted. And when we talk about smiling, I always say to people, make sure that you are sincere and authentic. So some of us are not natural smilers. In fact, in and around 50% of the world don't smile naturally all the time. And that's okay. However, much like your colleague, I would suggest when you do smile, it just sets people at ease. And some of us smile with our teeth. Some of us, like we're like this. Some of us don't smile that way, right? I mean, my daughter has a friend who has the most beautiful smile and she never shows her teeth, but she's, like this. Like it looks sincere and authentic. So I would always say, yes, smile, but make sure you're doing it in a way that feels comfortable to you and is sincere and is, authentic because we all have what I call spidey senses. We know what it's like when someone's giving us a fake smile, which of course is the opposite of trust is fake uncertainty, right?
Yeah, yeah. Very, very true. So building on the smile concept and Dr. Cialdini, he also recommends that websites on their homepage have a picture of the owner or proprietor and a welcome message. Welcome to abc.com with a picture of the owner. What are your thoughts on that?
I really like that. I really think people buy from people and people invest in people. They choose to support people. And, you know, companies are made up of people. And trust is about a relationship. So when I say, companies really should be focused on building trust, I'm leaving out a couple of words. Building relationships of trust with their customers, with their clients. So I love that because we can immediately see who is the owner and we can immediately, again, see that picture that, okay, this is who is behind the company. This is who I'm putting my trust in. So I think that's a great idea.
It's kind of back to the old shopkeeper, right? Where we
100%.
knew the butcher, the baker.
Yeah.
We knew those people. They knew us. And it creates that human connection, that
Yes.
authenticity. And yeah, I think it's a great idea. I remember back in the early 2000s, it was very common for websites to have a welcome message, welcome to our website. And then
Yes.
that went away. And now
Yes.
nobody does that. And they just throw products up.
Yeah.
And I really think it'd be worth testing for websites to do a A/B split test, a welcome version with
Yeah.
a scripted kind of font. Welcome to our website. I am Jim Smith, and a
Yeah.
picture of Jim Smith smiling authentically,
Yeah.
and versus just throwing up products and see which one drives more conversion. Because I'm with you. I think that people have lost the human connection,
Yeah.
and they want to regain that. And that's a lot of what social media is about, right? Is really
Yeah.
just knowing the people. I want to know you. I want to know what you are into, your hobbies, your interests, and not just the canned, stock images. They want to connect with people. And we've lost a lot of that with COVID. We've lost a lot of that with, online. And we want to get back.
Yes.
I think that's why conferences are coming back and face-to-face
Yes.
events, because we still want to deal with people.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I would say is the stronger trust equity your company has in not only the whole company, but the team, the people in the company, the stronger relationship of trust that you have when and if a company does have an issue, a complaint, a problem, a hiccup, the customers are much more forgiving. And so, building that trust equity through a welcome message is it's a great way to build that even stronger. Because let's face it, no company is perfect, no person is perfect. And the goal really is to be always striving to build a stronger relationship of trust. So when and if something happens, they know, oh, there's a person behind that company. Oh, it's Scott that made this mistake. Or, oh, it's Natalie that forgot to do this. And when we align with a person, we have a much better chance of either regaining the trust or not losing the trust versus someone we don't know in the name of a company that we don't have a relationship with, right? This all comes back to creating and building and protecting these relationships.
So you're saying people are more forgiving of people than entities.
Yes, and people that they have a relationship of trust with.
That's interesting because I do think a lot of brands, the owners of the brand hide behind the brand. I know I've done it for years and years before I started this podcast. I just hid behind my brand. Nobody really knew who I was.
Yeah.
But I've kind of changed that mindset where my clients particularly need to know who I am and what I stand for and what I believe in, and that I'm a real honest person that has their best intentions at heart, right?
Yeah.
And I think if I can become a real person that they can relate to, that makes them more loyal to me and that they trust me more,
I agree.
right?
Well, I totally agree, Scott. And people all around the world are prioritizing where they buy from and who they buy from based on that person. So, does that person have a social conscience? Are they trustworthy? Are they acting in my best interest? And do they have, as you said, the right intentions? So, we are prioritizing our purchasing decisions based on who we trust.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I used to say when I started my business in over 10 years ago now, it's a competitive advantage to be trusted. Well, it is now the most important asset is to be trusted. And because we are prioritizing all of our decisions, some of them consciously, some of them subconsciously, based on who we trust.
Yeah.
Well, as the old
that
saying
ties back
goes,
into your,
sorry, go ahead, Scott.
I was going to say that ties back into your first, your first strategy you talked about was authenticity,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the old saying, people buy from those they know, like, and trust. And trust is the most important part.
Yes. Yeah. It truly is the most important part. So one of the things that I mentioned earlier is that I have a new book that's come out, and in each section, I have 10 chapters. It's based on a customer story, a client story, and then I share some theory, and then there's a section called Making It Happen. At the end of each chapter, I have a section called Making It Happen. And one of the chapters, this section at the end is called the Customer Champion Scorecard. And so what I would suggest for business owners, e-commerce business owners, and entrepreneurs around building trust online is you want to make sure that everybody in the organization, not just the owner. Like Scott, I appreciate you saying, you used to not be in front, but it does start with you, the leaders, but it's really about everybody in the organization has to be focused on building, strengthening, and protecting relationships of trust. And you can actually teach people the skill set of how to build relationships of trust. And it really starts with thinking about the customer. So whatever product it is that you're selling online, whether it's, a software as a service, or if it's a widget, or it's a book, or, it's a service, it doesn't matter what it is. It's thinking about who is that customer and how can we build a relationship of trust with them. And like I said, in one of the chapters in my book, you can actually download this customer checklist to see about, are people customer champions or not?
That's fantastic. Well, we really enjoyed the conversation and learning more about trust. This has been very enlightening.
Well, thanks for having me.
So your book, Trusted, right?
Yes.
It's going to be available on Amazon?
It is available on Amazon now. Yeah, it's called Trusted, The Proven Path to Customer Loyalty and Business Growth.
There you go.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes. So
And
it's available on Amazon, and it's available in hardcover, paperback, ebook for those that like to read it on Kindle.
Nice. And what was the driving force behind you writing this book?
The book is a collection of real client stories. And I had several clients, Scott, that said, we would love to have all these tangible, practical tips all in one spot. My business and all of the model that I use is evidence-based and based on the 8 principles of trust, which I created in academia and then tested out over a 7-year period, is very practical and action-oriented. So like I said, I had several clients that said, can you put this all in one spot? It's my second book. The first book talks a lot about the theory of how we decide to trust and how the model was created. And this book is a tangible, action-packed, lots of tools based, again, on evidence and the scientific method.
That's great.
Love it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a must read.
Well, it's all about helping companies grow. That's actually what I love to do. And when you asked about the welcome message, I was thinking about my website. You may have seen my eyes roll up thinking, I wonder what mine is. And I do have a picture there. And I do have I don't say welcome, but I do have a little message that basically says, I'm on a mission to help business owners and leaders grow their companies. And I love to do that by helping them become the most trusted and see the proven path to customer loyalty and growth. Really all comes down to the people in the company. Are they building relationships of trust with customers?
Yeah. Well said. Well, thanks again for joining us on another episode of the e-commerce traffic and conversion podcast. And building on the theme of trust, you can go to Amazon and get our book, Reputation King, How to Become the Most Trusted Online Brand in Your Industry. And you can also get it a free digital and audio version at reputationking.com. So we look forward to seeing you next time on another episode of the e-commerce traffic and conversion podcast. Have an amazing day.
Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Natalie. Bye-bye.